Good, happy Saturday morning, November 2nd, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. We have a lot of news to get to this Saturday morning, so let's get started. First up, bodies of man, woman found in Texas identified as New Hampshire couple reported missing. James and Michelle Butler were reported missing on October 16th. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
We feel that if a customer wants their product and they're ambitious and they want to do it today, if we have it here in stock, we have the people, the trucking, and why put off till tomorrow what you can do today?
Visit us at powellstone.com.
Cleburne County, Texas Sheriff's investigators say they found the remains of 46-year-old Michelle Butler and her 48-year-old husband James after their cell phone pinged to Padre Island. Their bodies were discovered in what's described as a shallow grave in the sand dunes known as the Bowl. The couple were last heard from on October 16th while on an RV trip in the South. Their family at home in Rumney knew something was wrong when time passed without contact. They told News 9 that was unusual for James and Michelle, and they reported them missing. Investigators confirmed to News 9 after the Butlers were reported missing, they believe surveillance recorded the couple's 2018 silver Chevrolet pickup truck towing a white Cedar Creek RV with New Hampshire plates going over a border crossing into Mexico. The Sheriff's Department released a statement saying they are working on identification of persons of interest and attempting to find the whereabouts of the victim's truck and RV trailer. And tonight, the Sheriff's Department in Texas also said it cannot release all the details of this investigation yet, sending out heartfelt condolences to family and friends. And in another tragic turn, tomorrow would have been James Butler's 49th birthday.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Concord School Board votes to release district from contract with superintendent, hires new interim superintendent. Decision comes after months of criticism surrounding handling of allegations of sexual assault. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
We feel that if a customer wants their product and they're ambitious and they want to do it today, if we have it here in stock, we have the people, the trucking, and why put off till tomorrow what you can do today?
Visit us at powellstone.com.
I don't think you'll ever find any one of us sitting right here, right now, sleeping at the wheel again.
A candid exchange between the Concord School Board and parents as the board moves to accept the resignation settlement of Superintendent Terry Forston.
There's been so much pain over the last few months that I do think it's a step in the right direction in order for this community to move on.
Forston was placed on paid administrative leave amid an independent investigation into how school officials handled allegations against a teacher who was later charged with sexual assault. That teacher has pleaded not guilty. The board met 2 days after receiving a report on that investigation.
At that meeting, the board had voted unanimously to terminate the employment of Superintendent Forston.
The board moved to hire Dr. Frank Bass as interim superintendent. Seen here in video from 2016, in his role as superintendent in Hanover, Bass has decades of administrative experience in New Hampshire schools and is certified through 2022. Board members thanked the community for their continued input during this process. The goal is to hire a permanent replacement by July.
To make sure that we've got a culture within the district where student safety comes first and everyone understands what their obligations are, what the processes are.
I think we have a long way to go. I think the report absolutely has to be released so we understand what exactly happened and how we got here.
The independent report will be discussed at Monday's school board meeting, where the community will also have the opportunity to meet Dr. Bass. High school principal Tom Sicko remains on paid administrative leave. The board says there is no update on his status at this time. We're live in Concord tonight. Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Two injured in fiery crash on Route 125 in Bretton Wood. Let's take a look at that video from WMUR News 9.
And they're ambitious and we want to do it today. If we have it here in stock, we have the people, the trucking, why put off till tomorrow what you can do today?
Visit us at powellstone.com.
2 people are hurt after this fiery crash on Route 125 in Brentwood. 2 vehicles were involved in the accident just before 9 a.m. The driver of the vehicle that caught fire was able to escape. 2 people were taken to the hospital, but investigators have not released details about the injuries.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for November 2nd, 2019. We have 2 candidates today in New Hampshire. The first candidate, Bill Weld. He has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, Town Hall at Lucky Dog Tavern and Grill in Plymouth, New Hampshire at 11:30 a.m. And his second event is Meet and Greet in Orford, New Hampshire at 2 o'clock p.m. And those are the 2 events that Bill Weld will be doing today. And the next candidate that is in New Hampshire today, Marion Williamson. She has 3 events today in New Hampshire. Her first event, leading a meditation on power of peace and symmetry yoga in Lee, New Hampshire at 11 a.m. Her second event, Democracy Town Hall at Castle on the Charles in Rochester, New Hampshire at 2 p.m. And her third event, Meet and Greet at Poor People's Pub in Sanbornville, New Hampshire at 4:30 p.m. And those are the 2 candidates that will be in New Hampshire today. Beto O'Rourke bows out of 2020 Democratic presidential race. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
And there was a breaking headline late today involving the race for 2020. Former Congressman Beto O'Rourke announcing he is dropping out of the race. It comes just hours after Senator Elizabeth Warren finally revealed how she plans to pay for Medicare for all. Joe Biden's campaign calling it mathematical gymnastics tonight. Here's ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran.
He was once heralded as the new face of the Democratic Party, but tonight Beto O'Rourke is out. The candidate tweeting, "Our campaign has always been about seeing clearly, speaking honestly, and acting decisively. In that spirit, I am announcing that my service to the country will not be as a candidate or as the nominee." The former Texas congressman joined the race with great fanfare, but he never caught on with voters. After the mass shooting in his hometown of El Paso in August, O'Rourke seized on gun control as an issue to jumpstart his campaign. David asking him about his plan for mandatory buybacks of assault weapons.
You know, the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
O'Rourke's move there, not enough to boost his campaign. He drops out with another candidate on the rise. In Iowa, where she is now the front runner, Elizabeth Warren today revealed how she would pay for her plan to revolutionize American health care.
I have a plan that shows that we can have Medicare for all without raising taxes 1 cent on middle-class families.
Under the Warren plan, private employer-sponsored health insurance, the way more than half of all Americans get their coverage, would be eliminated. Instead, all Americans would get free health care from the federal government. On the campaign trail, her Democratic opponents have been hammering her for not explaining how she'd pay for such a gigantic new program.
I think we owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice.
Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything, except this.
Today, Warren declared her plan would cost $52 trillion over 10 years, including $20.5 trillion in new federal spending. She says she would pay for it with trillions in new taxes on corporations and on the wealthiest Americans, and with spending cuts, including $800 billion from the Pentagon.
Terry Moran with us live. This has been the issue, Terry, since that last debate, so no surprise today when Joe Biden was quick to offer his own review of Elizabeth Warren's plan.
He sure was, David. Joe Biden saying tonight she's making it up, saying her plan will be a lot more expensive than she claims, and his campaign saying that her plan to pay for it is, quote, mathematical gymnastics, as you said. But on this issue, as on so much else, it's Elizabeth Warren setting the agenda and the other candidates responding. David?
Terry Moran tonight. Great to have you.
Hi.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.